parliamentary football team get their game on. Westminster staff, journalists and MPs are all welcome to keep fit and have fun. After a brutal year in British politics, these training sessions provide a strong support network.
One of the things that you learn pretty quickly about the House of Commons and the Westminster bubble, as it's called, is it can be incredibly intense and it's not really like the real world. And so I think for all of us, this is a bit of sanity, a bit of normality, and just an opportunity to get to know people in a very different context.
At the start of this year, Hannah Bardell chose to tackle some behaviour she found unacceptable.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks have been pretty tough actually. Obviously experienced an abusive member of the House of Lords who I took on, and then as a result got homophobic abuse from him, and then online. It's not the first time I've had homophobic abuse online or offline, or suffered, some mental health challenges as a result of that and just as a result of the job. But the women in this team have always been hugely supportive, no matter what their political views or party that they're in, and we've become a group of friends above all else. There has been a lot of focus put on challenging abuse, and within each of the political parties and within Parliament, but I think we're still a long way from getting a proper wellness programme. It doesn't cover all the needs, I don't think, yet of members, and I think we're still in a place where there are significant pressures on us, and rightly so. We sign up to this job, but if people want their elected representatives to do the best possible job, there has to be a balance in that, and we have to be able to get the right support that people should get in any employment.
So these are some of the MPs' offices. Have you actually got your own office yet?
No, not quite yet. I'm going to actually be borrowing one of my colleagues' office for the day.
New MP Amy Callaghan is hoping she can get the balance right.
Joe Swinson, 19,523.
The 27-year-old pulled off one of the bigger shocks of December's election by toppling the former Lib Dem leader Joe Swinson in Eastern Bartonshire. There's been a lot to take in since then. So what are your first impressions of the place?
It's obviously, hailed as the mother of all parliaments, but it's quite an archaic system, and I think the sort of power structures and the power natures between men and women and between members and staffers is quite stark, and it's something that's been quite apparent to me, but that's something that I think with time hopefully will change, and I think young members coming in like myself and some of the other young women coming in this election might actually progress things hopefully a bit.
As many of that opinion say aye. Aye!
The culture in the Commons includes long hours and late night votes.
Division, clear the lobbies!
So the Scottish Parliament, the way that works, it works around holidays a bit more and everything's a bit more loose. It's sort of 9 to 5. You vote at a certain time every day and then you can go home to your family. That doesn't happen here. I'm at a point in my life at 27 that I can do this job pretty free and willing, and I'm not in that position. But in a point in the future I might be, so it's obviously factoring that kind of stuff in would be quite difficult. But a lot of women have done it.
It's a great pleasure to call Amy Callaghan to make her maiden speech.
And it's my hope that I too can serve as an example to young women in Eastern Bartonshire and indeed across the country, that they can make a difference and that no door is or should be closed to you regardless of your circumstances.
Hear, hear.
I was really nervous. Obviously that's the biggest speech I've ever done in my life. My knees were shaking together beforehand. I'm not going to pretend that they weren't. But I think the kind of positive feedback I've had from it afterwards has been absolutely incredible. I've had young women in Eastern Bartonshire sending me Twitter DMs and Instagram DMs saying that it's making them feel that they can achieve a lot more, and a couple of them are saying they want to study politics and things, which is music to my ears. I'm delighted to hear that. But just knowing that those doors are open for them now, I think is so important, that they're seeing me achieving this and that's making them feel that they can achieve stuff. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Dems didn't make the waves they wanted to in December, but Wendy Chamberlain did manage to win North East Fife from the SNP. The former police officer is the first female MP to represent this constituency. We took a trip on the Thames to get another angle on what life is like as a new MP.
It is almost like wearing a pair of surreal spectacles, and you're quite comfortable. This is where I go, this is where I sit, these are the people I know, and then you look across the chamber and there's Theresa May sitting. I do have to say there was one particular Conservative MP who maybe I didn't probably the best of impressions of before I came here, who I held a door open for and he didn't say thank you. So that's been confirmed, that low opinion.
In terms of like the end of last year and all the bitterness of last year, there are people who say, as a woman, why would you want to enter politics at this time?
Because I think that if we allow ourselves as a gender to be chased out of politics, well, the people that cause that distress and discomfort have won. So yeah, is it something that I'm anxious about or concerned about? I would say anxious, but it's something that I'm conscious of, and we'll just need to wait and see how it goes.
I declare Wendy Ann Chamberlain to be elected to serve in Parliament as a member for the North East Fife constituency.
I had a really positive campaign, and it goes to show that if both sort of main contenders, obviously in my case Stephen Gethins and North East Fife, set out to have a positive and friendly campaign, it absolutely can be done, and that's, I think, a credit to both of us.
All the bullying, the nastiness, the harassment that went on in the last Parliament, a lot of women MPs were threatened, death threats, a friend of mine had children were threatened. That just makes it more important that you actually stand up and say, no, I'm not going to allow this culture to prevail. I'm not going to allow people to be treated this way. So we need more women to come forward. There have been times when it feels incredibly like a gentleman's club, and you cannot allow that to persist. I found, going through some paperwork the other week, I found magazine articles I had written in 1998 about the women in Blair's government who wanted to change the atmosphere in Parliament, Harriet Harman, Anne Maguire, and the things that they were trying to change. Now, they made a lot of progress, but we've still got a lot to do before we can genuinely say that it's a House of Commons that represents all of the country.
It's a century since the first female MP took her seat in Parliament. A statue to Nancy Astor was recently unveiled by the former Prime Minister. The Labour MP Rachel Reeves has written a book to highlight the battles fought by women ever since.
Well, Nancy Astor once said that her male colleagues would have rather have had a rattlesnake in the chamber rather than her. And I think she was almost certainly right, because she was beginning to break up this all-male cosy club that had existed for many hundreds of years. There is something about there being a group of people in the country who still don't like women with strong opinions and having a voice. And the aim of people who are dishing out this abuse is to try and silence others, and often to silence women. And it's not just what happens online, of course. My friend and colleague Jo Cox was murdered doing her job in her constituency of Batley and Spen in 2016. Of course, the debates we're having at the moment, particularly the debate we've had about Brexit, about Scottish independence as well, the strong emotions run high, but we've got to find ways to disagree agreeably. And that is the challenge, I think, that we face in politics today.
The fight for women to get the vote did not come without sacrifice. Courage is still a key requirement for those who feel called to a career in politics.